My parents have one talent they've perfected for decades. They're late to absolutely everything. So when I got married, I secretly printed them a fake wedding invitation with the ceremony starting an hour earlier. It worked perfectly until one family dinner exposed my little trick. I'm 33, and my parents have always been late. It doesn't matter whether it's a birthday, graduation, holiday dinner, or family gathering. If the invitation says 6 o'clock, everyone expects them closer to 7. My mom is a wonderful person, but she has absolutely no sense of time. My dad spent years trying to get her out the door earlier before eventually accepting it was a battle he'd never win. My sisters and I grew up disappointed more times than we could count. We missed important moments because mom always thought she had time for one more phone call or one more task before leaving. We'd remind her, she'd wave us off, and we'd arrive after the important part was already over. It became such a normal pattern that nobody believed they could ever be on time. When my fiancée and I started planning our wedding, she gave me one warning. If my parents showed up late to the ceremony, I was going to regret it. She'd already watched them arrive halfway through another family celebration, so she knew exactly what they were capable of. Since my mom had a role during the ceremony, I couldn't risk taking that chance. While ordering our invitations, I quietly asked the printer to make one extra copy. It looked exactly like every other invitation except for one detail. My parents' version listed the ceremony starting 1 hour earlier than it actually would. I never told my fiancé because if anyone was going to take the blame, it was going to be me. On the wedding day, my dad later told me my mom was convinced they were running late. She rushed everyone out of the house and stressed the entire drive. When they reached the venue and saw guests still arriving, she assumed the ceremony had simply been delayed. She had no idea she'd actually arrived 45 minutes after the fake time on her invitation. The wedding couldn't have gone better. My parents were there before the ceremony, my mom completed her part, the photos were perfect, and everyone had an amazing time. I figured my little secret would stay buried forever because there was no reason for anyone to ever mention it again. Almost a year later, our family got together for a barbecue. We deliberately waited to start cooking because everyone knew my parents would probably be late. When they finally arrived, my mom noticed nobody was eating yet. Someone joked that we were simply waiting for them, like always. She immediately defended herself and insisted she wasn't always late. Then she proudly pointed to my wedding as proof she'd arrived on time for one of the biggest days of my life. The second she said it, one of my cousins burst out laughing. Everyone else tried to hide their smiles, but the damage was already done. My mom demanded to know what everyone found so funny. I could have lied, but I didn't. I admitted I'd printed a special invitation with an earlier start time because I didn't trust her to arrive on time. The entire table went quiet while she realized what I'd done. She was furious. She said I'd embarrassed her and made her look foolish in front of the whole family. I told her I never wanted to embarrass her. I just wanted my parents at my wedding before the ceremony started. Considering she'd actually arrived 45 minutes after the fake time, I honestly believe my plan had been necessary. Looking back, I still understand why she was hurt. Nobody likes finding out they've been tricked. At the same time, every other important event in my life suggested exactly the same thing would have happened without that fake invitation. My plan wasn't about humiliating my parents. It was about making sure they didn't miss one of the biggest moments of my life. What would you have done if you were in my position?